Have you ever hugged someone and noticed a faint, sour scent? Not from them, but from you? It's subtle, almost nothing, but enough to make you wonder, is this what aging smells like? If that thought has ever crossed your mind, you're not alone. And today, we're going to talk about something that no one ever tells you, but everyone needs to hear. In this video, we'll uncover 7 hidden zones on your body that, if left uncared for, can quietly change the way you smell, feel, and even how confident you walk into a room. But more importantly, I'll show you how just a few gentle habits, no fancy products, no expensive treatments, can help you feel fresher, lighter, and more in control of your body again. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my dear friend Martha, 72, came to visit. She gave me a big, warm hug and then pulled back a little embarrassed. She whispered, "I don't know if it's my laundry soap or just me, but I don't feel clean anymore." She had tears in her eyes, not because she smelled bad, but because she felt invisible, uncertain, not herself. We sat down, had tea, and talked, and I shared with her the very same daily care practices you'll learn in this video. 3 weeks later, she called me and said, "I feel like I found my body again." This is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about rediscovering small acts of self-respect that remind you you're still here, still powerful, still worthy of care. So take a breath and let's begin together. 1. Behind the ears. There's a tiny place on your body that most people forget exists, not because they don't care, but because it's hidden, quiet, and never calls for attention. Right behind your ears, that soft fold where your earlobe meets your scalp. I still remember the day I discovered how important this little spot is. A sweet patient of mine, Carol, 78, graceful, always put together, sat in my office frustrated. She'd been feeling off. She said she bathed daily, wore clean clothes, used perfume. But her granddaughter had said innocently, "Grandma, you smell like the attic?" It broke her heart. I asked her one simple question. "Carol, when's the last time you cleaned behind your ears?" She paused, thought, then said, I'm not sure." Here's the truth. As we age, our skin changes. Oil production doesn't stop. It just shifts. Sebum, the skin's natural oil, builds up in areas where airflow is low and folds are formed. Behind the ears is a prime spot, especially if you wear glasses, use hair products, or haven't done a deep clean in a while. That oil traps dirt, dead skin, even traces of perfume or hairspray. Over time, it creates a waxy, sour smell that lingers. The sad part is, we often can't smell it ourselves, but others can, especially when they lean in close for a hug. Carol followed a simple habit I shared. After her shower, while her skin was still warm and soft, she gently wiped behind each ear with a damp cloth and mild soap. She made sure to clean that fold behind the lobe, upward toward the hairline. Then she dried it carefully. She even kept a small cotton pad with witch hazel on her nightstand, giving that area a loving swipe before bed. 2 weeks later, she came back beaming. Not only did she feel cleaner, she felt seen again. She said, "When my great-grandson hugged me yesterday, he said I smelled like lavender." It wasn't the lavender. It was the care. That quiet pride we carry when we've honored our body in even the smallest ways. Let this be your gentle reminder. Sometimes, the most forgotten places are where the deepest self-respect begins. And just like behind the ears, there are other areas quietly asking for attention, quietly shaping how we feel in our skin. So next, let's move gently into another part of the body, just beneath the heart, where love and discomfort often hide together. 2. Under the breasts. There's a quiet little place many women don't talk about, but almost all of us experience it as we age. It's the space under the breasts, a zone that slowly shifts with time, with gravity, with motherhood, with weight gain or loss. For years, we may have never noticed it, never felt anything there. Then one day, perhaps in our 60s, we realize that something doesn't feel right. There's a faint itch, a slight warmth, maybe even a smell we don't recognize. And it's not from lack of hygiene. It's from a fold of skin that now gently rests on skin, creating a warm, closed-off space where moisture lingers and breath can't quite reach. I once had a patient, sweet Ms. Lorraine, who told me she was avoiding hugging people at church. She felt embarrassed, unsure if others could smell the sourness she sometimes noticed when she changed clothes. "I shower every day," she said, "but it doesn't seem to go away." So I asked her, "Do you lift the breast and wash underneath? Really get into the fold?" She blinked, surprised, and said, "I think I've just let the water run over it." It's a common story. As skin softens and loses its elasticity with age, the natural drape of the breast changes. Even smaller busts develop a fold. And just like behind the knees or under the arms, that skin-on-skin contact creates a humid environment where bacteria and yeast thrive. The smell isn't just sweat. It's a mix of sebum, dead skin cells, trapped air, and sometimes even remnants of lotions or powders that didn't get properly cleaned off. But here's the beautiful thing. It's not only manageable, it's completely transformable with just a few gentle daily habits. I told Lorraine to make it part of her shower ritual. Lift the breast gently and wash underneath with warm water and a mild, unscented soap. Rinse well, then pat dry, really dry, with a soft towel. After that, dust a tiny bit of cornstarch or fragrance-free powder under the fold if she expected a warm day or had activities planned. She even began using a bra liner made of breathable cotton to help wick away moisture during long outings. 2 weeks later, she came to see me and smiled in a way I hadn't seen before. "I hugged 4 people at Bible study this week," she said, "and for the first time in months, I didn't worry about how I smelled." That moment, simple, human, profound, reminded me why we must talk about these things. Because when we tend to the hidden parts of our body, we tend to our self-worth. When we feel clean and confident, we move differently. We speak with more ease. We show up. This area under the breasts, though often ignored, deserves the same care we give our face or hands, because confidence isn't only about what's seen. It begins in the places we care for when no one is looking. And from here, let's move even lower, to a spot that's quietly gathered the wear of decades, a place we all have, but few remember to clean. That tiny inward fold we call the belly button. And trust me, it has its own stories to tell. 3. Belly button. There's a small place on our body that once connected us to life itself. A tiny hollow we often ignore, but that quietly holds decades of stories. The belly button. It's strange, isn't it? Something so central to our beginning, now mostly forgotten. And yet, as we grow older, it becomes more important than we realize. I remember a dear patient, Joan, in her early 70s, who came to see me about persistent mustiness she couldn't place. "I shower every morning," she insisted. "I change my clothes twice a day, but sometimes I still feel off." We did a little experiment together. Just a cotton swab, warm water, and a gentle twist inside her navel. What came out surprised even her. "Oh my," she said, blinking at the grayish waxy residue. "I had no idea that could be hiding in there." And that's exactly it. The navel is like a small cave, warm, dark, and slightly moist. It doesn't get air. It doesn't get sunlight. And if we're not intentional, it doesn't get cleaned. Over time, it collects sebum, dead skin cells, tiny fibers from our clothing, even remnants of lotion or sweat. And when left alone, all of that begins to break down. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, until one day we notice a faint musty smell. Not strong, but there, lingering. The fix is beautifully simple and deeply caring. During your shower, take a soft washcloth or a cotton swab dipped in warm soapy water. Gently clean inside the navel. No poking, no pressure, just kindness. Rinse well, then pat it dry with a clean towel. For deeper navels, a drop of witch hazel once or twice a week can help maintain freshness and balance the skin. This little ritual, done daily, becomes more than hygiene. It becomes an act of self-respect. A way of saying to your body, I see you, I remember you, I care for every part of you, even the hidden ones. And the lesson is bigger than the belly button. It's about the places in our lives we forget to tend, the conversations left unsaid, the little corners of our heart we've tucked away. Cleaning this small fold is a reminder, nothing is too small to matter. And now, from the center of your being, we move upward to another place that holds layers we rarely touch, not the hair, but what's beneath it. Let's talk about your scalp, the quiet skin under your crown, and how it shapes not just how we feel, but how others feel around us. 4. Scalp. Let me tell you a secret that surprised even the most well-groomed of my patients. It's not always our breath, our underarms, or our clothes that first betray us. It's often our scalp. Not the hair, but the skin beneath. You see, the scalp is like fertile soil. It nourishes, it breathes, and over time, it collects everything. Oil, sweat, old product, even stress. I once had a patient, Eleanor, a graceful woman in her late 60s, who always wore a silk scarf over her silver curls. She came in with a question I hear more than you might think. Why do I feel so clean? And yet, people lean away when we hug. Gently, we explored her scalp care, and that's where we found it. A subtle, sour scent. Not strong, but enough. The buildup of days, of habits, of forgetfulness. As we age, our hair may thin or gray, but the scalp remains active. It continues to produce sebum, and when not cleansed with intention, that oil mixes with dead skin cells and leftover hair products. The result? A quiet, persistent odor that we become nose-blind to, but others don't. And it's not just about washing more often. In fact, many older adults wash less to avoid dryness, which is understandable. But scalp care doesn't mean over-shampooing. It means being deliberate. On non-shampoo days, a simple routine makes all the difference. Take a clean, damp cloth, just warm water is enough, and gently massage your scalp. Focus on the crown, the nape of the neck, behind the ears, and especially the hairline where makeup and sweat love to gather. If you do shampoo, shift your focus from the hair to the skin. Use your fingertips, not your nails, in slow, circular motions. Let the suds work their way in, loosening debris and oils. And when you rinse, rinse thoroughly. No residue left behind. I always tell my patients, the scalp is like a welcome mat. It's the first place your loved ones lean in to kiss. It's where you lay your head in rest. Cleanliness here doesn't just lift odor. It lifts your presence, your confidence, your ease. And if you wear wigs, hats, or scarves regularly, this care becomes even more essential. Trapped heat and moisture can turn a covered scalp into a breeding ground for odor and irritation. Clean under your coverings. Swap pillowcases often. Choose breathable fabrics when you can. And here's a deeper truth. Scalp care, like many rituals, is about connection. With your body, with your memories, with your dignity. Taking a few extra minutes to tend to your roots each day is a quiet way of saying, I'm still here, I still matter, and I still care. As we move from the crown down to the very soles, let's talk next about where we walk, our feet. Another place of great wisdom, and too often, silent suffering. 5 feet. You can tell a lot about someone by the way they walk into a room, but few people realize that our confidence, how we carry ourselves, how grounded we feel, often begins with the feet. I remember one patient, Frank, 74, who came to me complaining of backaches and poor sleep. But as we talked more, I asked, "How are your feet?" He looked surprised and said, "I never really think about them." And that was the start of his transformation. You see, the feet are not just tools for movement. They're anchors of balance, circulation, and dignity. They carry the stories of our lives, every mile walked, every dance, every trip to the kitchen in the middle of the night. But as we age, many of us stop caring for them properly. We let dry skin build up. We skip between the toes. We assume that letting soapy water run over them in the shower is enough. It isn't. Our feet sweat more than most parts of the body, and when that moisture gets trapped between toes, under nails, in socks that haven't fully dried, it becomes a perfect recipe for odor and discomfort. The worst part is that foot odor is something others often notice before we do. I've had patients who were hesitant to visit friends, even take off their shoes at the doctor's because of it. But the solution is both simple and powerful. Start by treating your feet the way you'd treat your hands, with intention. Sit down if you need to, use a soft cloth or loofah, and gently wash every part of the foot, between the toes, under the nails, around the heel. Use warm, not hot, water and mild soap. Afterward, dry thoroughly. That part's not optional. Moisture left between toes can lead to fungal infections or peeling skin. Then, apply a bit of foot-specific moisturizer, especially if you struggle with cracked heels. If odor is an issue, a little cornstarch or baking soda in your socks can help keep things dry. But more than technique, what I really want you to hear is this. Your feet deserve care because they've carried you through so much. They are not dirty or embarrassing. They are faithful. And when we take the time to care for them, it changes more than hygiene. It changes how we feel when we stand up in the morning. It changes how we move through the world. Frank, the patient I mentioned earlier, began doing a nightly foot care routine. Within weeks, his sleep improved. His back pain lessened. But what struck me most, he smiled more. He stood taller. That's the power of tending to our foundation. So tonight, before bed, give your feet 5 minutes of love. Warm water, gentle touch, dry towel, a little cream. It's not vanity, it's reverence. And when you step forward tomorrow, you'll feel the difference, not just in your soles, but in your soul. Now, as we wrap this journey of self-care from scalp to step, let's talk about something just as vital, perhaps even more invisible, the groin area. A place of dignity, comfort, and daily attention we all deserve. Chapter 6. Groin area. There's a part of the body we often hesitate to mention, even though it's one of the most important places to keep clean, especially as we age, the groin area. It's intimate, yes, but it's also a zone of vulnerability, dignity, and health. I once had a dear patient named Helen, 76, who quietly confided during an annual checkup that she felt self-conscious about a strange smell, but didn't know where it came from. She'd tried changing detergents, wearing different fabrics, even skipping perfume. But the problem wasn't what she added. It was what she wasn't doing, giving that private area the attention it gently asked for. The groin is a naturally warm and moist place. It's where folds of skin meet, where sweat collects, and where subtle changes in hormone levels, elasticity, or daily routines can quietly change its balance. And over time, without daily care, those changes become noticeable. Not just to us, but sometimes to those around us, even if they'd never say a word. Especially for women over 60, when estrogen shifts, skin thins, and the body becomes more prone to retaining moisture or developing irritation, this area needs more than soap and water. It needs mindful care, and above all, it needs kindness. So let's talk about how to care for it, gently but thoroughly. During your shower, use warm, not hot, water and a mild, fragrance-free cleanser. Harsh soaps or scented body washes can actually disrupt your natural pH, making things worse. Use your hand or a soft cloth, not a loofah or scrubber, and clean around the labia, the inner thighs, and the creases where skin touches skin. After rinsing, dry the area completely. Moisture is the quiet culprit behind many issues here, from odor to yeast infections to chafing. I often recommend using a soft towel just for this part of the body. And here's a little trick. A few seconds of a hairdryer on the lowest, coolest setting can help ensure no dampness lingers in the folds. Now, let's talk about clothing. Opt for breathable underwear. Cotton is still gold. Avoid tight-fitting synthetic fabrics, especially if you live in a warm climate or tend to sweat more. And if you wear liners or pads for incontinence, changing them regularly and cleaning gently afterward is not only about hygiene, it's about honoring yourself. Some of my patients use a tiny bit of cornstarch powder, not talc, after drying to stay fresh, but only after making sure the skin is clean, dry, and happy. There's also an emotional part of this. Many older women, consciously or not, begin to disconnect from their own bodies as time passes. They see certain parts as not mine anymore, or no longer relevant. But that's not true. This part of you is still part of you. It still deserves to be nurtured. And when we approach it, not with shame but with respect, everything shifts. We reclaim comfort. We regain confidence. We restore quiet dignity. I remember Helen, months after she began a gentle care routine, telling me, "I feel like I got a part of myself back." That moved me deeply, because it wasn't just about feeling cleaner. It was about reconnecting to herself with love. And that, my friend, is the whole point of care at this stage in life. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about checking in with the parts of you that have served you all your life and saying, you still matter. So as you step into your next bath or shower, pause for a moment. Offer this area a bit of time, a bit of gentleness. It may be hidden, but it's never unimportant. Now, with the body clean and cared for from head to toe, we'll take one last moment to reflect on what all these simple acts add up to and why they matter more than ever. Let's close this journey together with a reminder that the smallest steps often hold the deepest power. A clean body, a confident life. You know, over the years, I've learned something simple but powerful. When we feel clean, we feel strong. It's not just about hygiene. It's about how we walk into the world, how we hold ourselves, how we look someone in the eye and smile without hesitation. I've seen it time and again in my patients. There's this quiet confidence that returns when we tend to the parts of ourselves that others may not see, but we know are there. One woman told me, "I didn't realize how much I was shrinking into myself. avoiding hugs, skipping church, hesitating to reach for something in public, until I felt clean again. Not just outside, but inside too. That stayed with me, because that's what this is really about. It's not about being flawless or smelling like roses. It's about reclaiming your comfort, your peace, your right to feel good in your own skin. Each body part we talked about today, the behind the ears, under the breasts, the belly button, the scalp, feet, groin. Each one is a reminder that every inch of you is still worthy of care. You don't need to overhaul your whole routine overnight. Just start with one area. Maybe tonight, it's a gentle cleaning behind your ears. Tomorrow, maybe you lift your breasts and give that space a little breath. Little by little, these moments become habits. Habits become rituals, and rituals, well, they become self-respect in motion. So, wherever you are on your journey, I want you to remember this. Aging isn't about disappearing. It's about showing up with grace, with presence, with a quiet kind of power that comes from knowing you're still here and you still matter. A clean body, my friend, is not just about smelling fresh. It's about walking tall, hugging tight, and laughing fully. You deserve that. We all do.